All right, shot number 6, guys. We have the elk out here. I was gonna try to shoot this thing further than we've shot yet. These are less than ideal conditions. It's cold, it's decently windy, breezy. We got a wind from the left. It is raining and it's foggy. I set up behind me here at what I think is 900 something, and I couldn't get my rangefinder to read the target. Just too foggy. I could get 700-800, but I just couldn't get that range. And this rangefinder is supposed to range to say 8,000 yards. It's called the 8K. I doubted it will, but today conditions, it's just so overcast that it just was not. I tried different settings. I even tried the fog setting, and it still didn't pick it up. So not ideal conditions to be shooting long range in, but I promised you guys I'll bring you a video, and I thought this is a good opportunity to bring you a video in some less than ideal circumstances. All right, let's get a range on this elk. 793 calls for 15.74. So I have asked the question myself, does rain affect bullet drop? And I have shot in some rain and some downpours, and I'm going to tell you, in a downpour it does. In this conditions, just a light rain, foggy conditions, I don't think it does, not much. There's this theory that when you watch a bullet fly, you see the vapor trail of a bullet. There's this theory that that air that bullet is distorting is keeping the rain off of the bullet, basically creating this bubble. This bullet's flying and is just moving with the bullet. Let's see if that's true. We got some left to right wind. I'm gonna hold probably at least a minute left, which puts me close to the back of his lungs. And we're gonna see if we can drift one right into the center somewhere. The other thing that I will do is clean my barrel. I have a lot of water sitting on this barrel, and I don't have a rag with me, or I would use it, but I assume a lot of beaded up water on your barrel might change some harmonics. All right, that felt really good from what I could see. I had a really hard time seeing his front leg. Of course, that target doesn't really have much of a front leg, and being really low to the ground in this much fog, I typically can see back and forth on that front leg about where I want to hold, and I had a really hard time seeing that front leg, but I think we're good. I think I held towards the back of the lungs. I'm guessing I got some drift forward. Let's go take a look. All right, we made it down to the elk. So it is, like I said, raining. The air temperature is pretty chilly, and the air feels really heavy and dense and foggy. I literally struggled ranging this thing. Even there at 790 some yards, I had to like hold the button for a second or three. And anyway, all right, this is what we did. His lungs come all the way down to here. So we're about 4 or 5 inches up into the lungs, straight behind the heart. That's where we hit. I held about right here. Well, actually, I held back here. I held, I'm gonna say, at least back of the lung for wind. So I feel like we drifted probably 5-6 inches. And we did hit low from what I held, or from what I could see. We did hit low. I mean, the best I could see, I'd say I was holding there. So we drifted forward and hit a little bit low. So, does the rain affect the bullet? I definitely hit low from my aim point. And so, yeah, that would look like it definitely affected it some. The rangefinder that I'm using is taking in account for the barometric pressure and all that, so it's going to sense some of that, but I don't necessarily think it's going to account for all that. It is raining just hard enough, I feel, to probably make a little bit of a difference, and I think it did. So the harder it's raining, obviously the more that's going to make a difference. But nevertheless, at 793 yards in foggy, rainy conditions, I believe we have killed another elk. All right, guys, I hopped inside, and it is a little warmer and drier in here. So I can't tell you that I have a lot of experience shooting in the rain. I will tell you, I only remember about once where I actually shot in a downpour, and I don't remember the exact distance, but I want to say it was probably a similar distance to what we were shooting here. And in a downpour rain, I was hitting quite a bit low. So today's rain isn't necessarily considered a downpour, but it was just a steady, it was more than a mist. But it was by no means a downpour, and it's just heavy fog. And I was curious on how much that will affect the shot or the bullet. I do think that we did definitely have some effect. I do feel like we did hit low, probably because of the weather. It could have been me. I could easy have held a quarter minute lower than I thought, and the rain could have driven it down a quarter minute, because it probably hit about a half a minute low from where I thought I aimed. But either way, I don't profess to be a professional when it comes to telling you how much the weather like this has an effect on the bullet. I can just show you some results and tell you what I've seen on the few times that I've done it. And there you just got a live view from that shot. But I would encourage you, take some of the crappy conditions and some of the rainy weather that you have, and go out and do a little bit of shooting and a little bit of experiment on your own, and then you can imprint off of those times when you're out and have these kind of conditions you actually have to shoot in. When you get an opportunity at an elk that looks like that picture, you want to know what your bullet does, and you want to know if you can shoot that shot or if you can't shoot that shot, and the only way for you to do it is actually go out and do it. Don't just say, hey, one time I seen Matt do it and it worked for him, gotta work for me. Now go do it yourself. Then you'll have your own confidence. You don't want my confidence, you want your own confidence. So anyway, the other thing is when it's wet like this, everything gets slippery, everything just is, even your scope can be harder to see through, because you get all kinds of little rain droplets on your lenses and those kind of things, and so everything just gets a little bit harder. And so I know it's not fun to go out there and practice in the rain. I got all wet, my pants are soaked. I did lay my shooting mat down for all you haters and guys who don't appreciate that and say that's not real world. I did throw my shooting mat down, so I apologize about that, but I was just trying to keep a little bit dry. But I honestly would rather shoot without the mat, just for the simple fact that when my bottle rest is on the ground, it's more firm than on the mat, because the mat has this cushion in there that I would prefer not to shoot off of. All right, enough rambling. Back to the shot. All right, again, I appreciate you guys following along on this little one-shot challenge. We have episode 7 coming up.